brings us to the informational part of the meeting. Item 7, reestablishment of the Regional Safety Council. Jeff Kaufman.
Good morning.
Good morning, Jeff.
Good morning.
Thanks.
Isn't that comparison? They had chicken. Just to start off briefly, I want to talk about what the Houston-Galveston region looks like in terms of traffic safety. 2014, which is our best last year worth of data. We're working through 2015 right now as we speak. There were over 130,000 serious crashes where people lost their lives, were seriously injured, or had a significant amount of property damage to vehicles. 612 people lost their lives in this area. If you would like a good comparison, according to the Department of Public Safety, 377 people were murdered in the area in 2014 as well, to give you a comparison of how traffic safety compares. There were over 18,000 serious injuries. According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, nearly half of fatalities in this area involved alcohol. Harris County has the unfortunate distinction of being number 1 in DWI fatalities nationally. It's more than Los Angeles. It has 2.5 times the number of folks. We still have more. Bicyclists and pedestrians, 1 in 5 fatalities in this region. And 180 deaths involve people who were not wearing a seatbelt. We have a lot of issues here to cover. Over the last few years, H-GAC has been working on various traffic safety activities. We currently run a regional DWI task force consisting of 16 law enforcement agencies that go out on holiday weekends, including upcoming spring break, to go look for drunk drivers and to protect the general public from them potentially causing harm. We've developed partnerships with Texas Children's Hospital and Texas A&M Transportation Institute, conducting outreach for child, teen safety. These are folks who are either not capable of protecting themselves or folks who are just starting to drive and don't quite have the hang of it. Staff regularly conducts assessments for local governments in regards to their particular traffic safety issues, looking at intersection corridor issues and trying to determine what their traffic safety problems are and where they need to look. We've also produced a DWI documentary that won a national award. It's geared toward teenagers. It was also produced by teenagers, and it's being used in many high schools, driver's education programs, and we've had requests for this video from places including Australia, Ireland, and even one of the former republics in Russia. We're also involved in various statewide committees regarding traffic safety discussion for the state. What we're trying to do is reestablish a committee called the Regional Safety Council. This is a group that was set up about 10 years ago that deals with traffic safety issues. This is a group, it's a little different from some of the other committees. This is pretty much consisting of practitioners that deal with various aspects of traffic safety in the area, looking at engineers, law enforcement agencies, medical professionals, advocates in the area, educators, researchers, industry groups. And this is included in the past folks from, say, AAA, motor vehicle insurance companies, the Bay Area Council on Drugs and Alcohol, Federal Railroad Administration, a variety of different folks from various different disciplines in the traffic safety realm. The idea is to get practitioners all together in order to come with solutions that kind of get folks out of their silos and work together to come up with solutions on traffic safety. This group, the membership, it's up to 25 members can be on this committee, and it's a group that's appointed by TPC, and what we're looking after this meeting is for the next meeting to bring a proposed slate of individuals for your consideration. We would like a diverse group. of folks ranging from, the groups that I mentioned. One group that we are looking at bringing into the fold, we reached out to AARP. Reason being is that we have more older drivers on the road. It's been an issue that hasn't been really addressed, but unfortunately, and even speaking from personal experience, that as older drivers are out on the road, there are some, unfortunately, who, due to various medical reasons, perhaps should not be on the road and could be a problem on the road. Unfortunately, about 3 years ago, my mother and I had to take away my father's car keys. It's one of the hardest things I ever had to do. But, it was for his safety and for everyone else's. But, what we're looking, though, is for a variety of different folks: pedestrian, bicycle advocates, Mothers Against Drunk Driving, again, law enforcement, engineers, a whole mix to discuss this. It's a group that will have a 2-year term. We'll be meeting quarterly, and appointments will come to you next month. These are a host of the issues that we are looking at. I'm not saying that we are going to devote all of our focus to every single issue equally. Admittedly, 13 different issues, a lot to cover, but we would like to look at some of them that have significant impact. Off the top of our head, we know that alcohol and distracted driving are big issues, not just regionally, but throughout the country. As mentioned, bicyclists and pedestrians is something of note. It has 1 in 5 fatalities in the area. But this group would kind of look at these various areas of note and try to determine where we can put our focus. But if there's opportunities in any of these areas that we can take advantage of, why not take advantage of them? Some of the proposed activities that we're looking at doing with this group is be able to provide you a state of safety report. This is something that would give you an idea of what safety is like in the region. Unfortunately, I'm going to tell you, just a heads up, the issue is getting worse. So just be prepared to see that in the report. We are also looking at conducting a regional safety plan. This is an issue that is something that was brought up in MAP 21. The state has a safety plan. It's called Strategic Highway Safety Program. And it is proposed in there that metropolitan organizations such as ours should be coming up with similar plans that kind of work, within the locality's interest, but also correspond with the state's plan as well. This also goes with safety performance measures that is being discussed. It's in MAP 21, and they're coming up with rulemaking in order for us to develop measures. And we are going to have to be reporting as an NPO on safety performance in the area. That's something we're going to be working on. We also want to continue working at developing partnerships to expand outreach and education in the area. We've worked to develop partnerships. Again, the PWI task force, we have 16 different law enforcement agencies that go out to do drug driving enforcement. But there are other opportunities out there and how we can reach out and address the traffic safety issue in our area. And we also want to recommend to you as an organization what potential funding that you can help us in terms of funding for some of these safety initiatives. I know there's a lot of these projects, infrastructure projects, do address safety, but there are other projects that we are looking at addressing as well. And it could be, additional funding for law enforcement, approval of grants, outreach activities, and that's where this group will come and recommend to you those actions. That's what I have. I'm looking to come back to you with a slate of individuals that we are interested in. There will be a nominating committee that will be set up to look at these initiatives, at these individuals, and you all have an opportunity to put forth folks as well. I'll take any questions at this time.
Thank you, Jeff.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, please.
I think I agree with a lot of things you're doing, but the reality is that you need to have a component of treatment for these people. At the toll road, we're investing money into DWI courts, but you can get out here and put all the law enforcement on the street you want, but you're going to have, unless you treat these people, you're going to have continuing problems. huge element of it.
Yes, I wholeheartedly agree. While Mothers Against Drunk Driving tends to be an organization that is very popular in regards to dealing with drunk driving, we've actually worked with the Houston Council on Drugs and Alcohol and the Bay Area Council on Drugs and Alcohol because in some cases there's a substance abuse problem that we have to deal with on our roads, and that this cannot just be a matter of, the advocacy that Matt does is great, but there is something that feeds into it that has to be addressed as well. I wholeheartedly agree.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I think it'd be appropriate for all of our membership to have a copy of this presentation. I would like one particularly for myself. But I think if we took it back to our cities, I think it would give us some input into our participation in this project, and I think it's very important we do so. I'd like to personally have a copy of it myself, if it's possible. Alan.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Jeff, in your presentation, I didn't hear you talking about the element of texting while driving.
I'm sorry, sir?
Texting while driving? Texting
Texting while driving. Distracted driving was on there.
Distracted would cover that.
Texting is one of the issues. It's texting, it's cell phone use, it's eating while you're in your car. The cars themselves have become distractions. As much as I love the new Tesla, which is a fascinating car, they have a screen in the middle of the console that's about the size of an iPad. I believe I can, if I want, go down the road and read the New York Times.
Oh, that's a big source of safety concern.
So yes, distracted driving is a huge issue, and it is definitely a challenge, especially since we don't have a law in our books that prevents texting and driving. And so that is definitely one of the challenges that needs addressing. No question about it.
One of the opportunities I see with this, and I think this is good to look at it from a regional, there are a lot of different organizations looking at how they can focus on road user safety in a much broader perspective. This can be a great opportunity to bring all those groups together to begin focusing on really measurable improvements we can collectively make for all users of the infrastructure. And I think that's really the role of the Transportation Policy Council. So I think we should be very supportive of this moving forward, and really then getting measurable milestones of success going forward. You can have a vision, and there's a lot of folks talking about Vision Zero now. No fatalities, no accidents. I think we should always look to that vision, but then we ought to get measurable milestones that we make accomplishments and success to celebrate along the way. Not try to get to the end game alone, but begin to build some measures of success that you then can build upon. And I think this is a good opportunity moving forward.
I wholeheartedly agree because it's benchmarking it, and as Commissioner Raddick pointed out, starting to look at some ways to make those improvements and educate the public, especially, we're talking about the distracted driving. That is one of the hugest problems that we have out there. Driving up 288 this morning, I lost count of the number of people driving 75 miles an hour and playing with their cell phones. So,
not on 288, you didn't see that. They don't go 75 miles on 288.
On the lower side, before you get to 6.
When they can, they will.
Do we have any other questions?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
We have a program in this county, especially with the road and bridge department, where everyone has to back in parking. And I don't know if the statistics are there, but how many children are killed every year by parents or grandparents because they back over them. That needs to be part of this study and education. We're trying to educate not only the whole staff of Chambers County, even the staff that work at the courthouse to back in. And so and it's very, I've got grandkids that I don't want backed over. So I think that needs to be part of it.
That's good. That's a good point. Alan, do we need to reconstitute the nominating committee to come up with a slate of folks for this committee?
Mr. Chairman, we will consult with the nominating committee, identifying meeting date, and bring to them a candidate list of potential nominees for you to consider. between now and then, we'd like to do this in March. We'll have an early meeting in March. We'd really appreciate any recommendations that you have of persons that we should contact and consider. So please do not hesitate to contact me, Jeff, another member of the staff, with any individuals that you would like to recommend. And then we look forward to that committee bringing forward to you some recommendations on priorities. One thing we know about the safety area is there's a lot of folks who are making a contribution, but we need to find a way to work together to leverage that because it's all too little for the size of the problem we're trying to address. So we will do that. We'll work with our existing nominating committee, Mr. Chairman.
To back that up, our next meeting is 3 weeks from today. So by the time we put together any suggestions you have, get them to Alan early next week so that we can get this rolling, so we can have it on the next agenda. So, all right, good deal. Thank you. Thank you.
I sincerely appreciate your time.
I think it'd be appropriate to let our state representative weigh in on distracted driving, where he thinks that Austin is.
Well, we've tried the last two sessions to pass a texting bill, as you know, many of you know, and we weren't successful. I fully supported that, but I think we'll probably try that again. I was driving to Austin yesterday in 99, and a guy almost hit me in the back, and he had his phone where I could see it. So we've got to do something about this, I believe, personally. I think the city can do something, but I think we need to do something. So if you support that, let me know, and we'll try to carry that forward the next time.
Very deep session before last, and the Liberty 8 stuck together. They'll, need one more Senate vote.
But, Commissioner, Commissioner, the reason I asked him to say something is every one of you can influence your state representative or state senator, but they got to know that we are behind them when they vote for something that somebody's punching them in the side on. So I know Rick is there on it, but everybody else got to get your folks on board, including senators.
And Mr.
All right,
Chairman,
thank you. Yes, sir. Alan.
I will say that, we talk about this as if nothing is working, but I will tell you that we've seen some early numbers that suggest that graduated driver's licenses are having a very positive impact. I think if we, Jeff, can support that, we ought to let our legislators know and thank them for what they did several years ago in implementing that, because I know that was a difficult decision for the state to do.
Thank you, Alan. Thank you, Jeff. We appreciate it.
Thank you all.